Over 60 years old. 7 worst canned foods you should never touch. You know that can you open without thinking twice? The one that seems like the magic solution to your daily rush? Well, it could be carrying a ticking time bomb for your body, especially if you're over 60. We're talking up to 2,300 milligrams of sodium. And look, that's twice what your heart, which has worked hard for 6 decades, can actually handle in a single day. In just 48 hours, this massive dose of salt can spike your blood pressure, make your legs swell like balloons, suffocate your kidneys, and silently begin stealing your most precious memories. But don't panic. Today I've brought you the 7 worst canned villains. And get ready, because number 4, oh, that one's in the cupboards of 9 out of 10 Brazilians. Stay with me until the end, find out what it is, why it's so dangerous, and best of all, learn the alternatives that, believe it or not, cost even less. Have you ever noticed how we trust a can as if it were a longtime friend? It's convenient, doesn't spoil easily, and doesn't require any culinary talent, right? It's the promise of a quick and uncomplicated meal, something modern life has taught us to value. But here's the secret the food industry doesn't want you to know. After 60, the body loses that break it had in youth. You know those kidneys that filtered everything without complaining? Now, they take longer to clear the salt. The heart, which used to beat at its usual rhythm, can start to lose its rhythm under stress. And the immune system? It, poor thing, no longer snoozes. It takes a deep nap. The result? That quick soup, that healthy tuna, or that practical sauce can, without you realizing it, turn into a slow-acting poison, corroding your health from within. I'm not here to alarm you without reason. Quite the opposite. I've brought you fresh data, straight from the Health Surveillance Agency, and from 3 robust studies published in 2024, focusing on hypertension and frailty in old age. This research shows, with crystal clarity, how certain canned foods can be true saboteurs of your vitality. And the truth is, for us in our prime, food isn't just about pleasure, it's about preventative medicine. It's about ensuring each day is lived with more energy, more mental clarity, and more independence. So, today, I'm going to show you, one by one, the 7 canned foods you need to target and destroy, or at least never put in your shopping cart again. My promise is clear. No complicated technical jargon, no unnecessary detours, just the naked truth, because your health, at this point in your life, can't take any more half measures. Let's demystify what's hidden behind those colorful labels and empower you to make choices that truly nourish you instead of poisoning you. The can that breaks your heart, ready-made soups and broths. Let's start with the bestseller, the queen of convenience, canned ready-made soups and broths. They sell themselves as a warm hug on a cold day, an easy and comforting meal. But behind this welcoming image hides a true enemy of your heart. On average, a serving of these soups has a whopping 1,800 milliliters of sodium. Sounds like a small amount? Think again. The World Health Organization, WHO, is very clear. For those over 60, the maximum recommended sodium intake for the entire day is 1,500 millicalorins. This means that with just half a can of this soup, you're not only exceeding your daily limit, but also leaving a huge opportunity for your blood pressure to skyrocket. And it's not just salt. The most commonly used preservative monosodium glutamate, the infamous MSG, is a true master at enhancing flavor, but it's also an expert at increasing fluid retention, leaving you bloated and uncomfortable. Remember Roberto? At 66, a former janitor, he used to have canned chicken soup every night. It was a quick dinner after a tiring day. It's not ideal, it's not a magic solution, but it's a palliative that reduces the negative impact. Remember, the ideal is always to look for the purest and least processed version. And if you want to guarantee your omega-3, consider other sources like flaxseed, chia seeds, or walnuts, as well as fresh fish like salmon or mackerel. The hidden villain, canned vegetables with white. And here we come to our number 4, the villain I promised, and which is probably in the cupboards of 9 out of 10 Brazilian homes. We're talking about canned vegetables. Corn, peas, hearts of palm. They seem so innocent, don't they? A touch of color and convenience for any dish. But have you ever stopped to notice that milky liquid inside the can? Ah, my friend, that white isn't pure water. It's a chemical mixture that includes calcium chloride, sodium chloride, and, most worryingly, sodium metasulfite. Calcium chloride is used to maintain the firm texture of vegetables, which seems harmless. Sodium chloride is, you guessed it, pure salt. And sodium metasulfite. This is a preservative that, while it prevents browning and spoilage, can trigger serious problems. For people with a history of allergies or sensitivities, it can trigger asthma attacks and other allergic reactions. For the kidneys of those over 60, it's another unnecessary burden of sodium and chemicals to process. And the salt? About 400 milligrams per 3 tablespoons. That's much more than you'd imagine for something that should be a simple vegetable. The solution is incredibly simple and often even tastier. Buy frozen or fresh vegetables. They take the same amount of time to cook, about 5 minutes in steam, and don't come with this cocktail of preservatives and sodium. And if you think just rinsing will solve the problem, I need to warn you. The preservative doesn't just stay on the surface, it penetrates the food. Water doesn't remove everything. You can even reduce sodium a bit, but the other additives will still be there, silently working in your body. Invest in fresh, seasonal vegetables or frozen ones without additives. They're more nutritious, tastier, and, above all, safer for your health. Steaming, quick sautéing, or even roasting are options that preserve flavor and nutrients without adding risks. Ready-made tomato sauces, sugar in disguise. Who doesn't love a good tomato sauce to accompany pasta or chicken? It's a classic. And ready-made canned sauces seem like the epitome of convenience. But, as with other options, convenience hides a secret that can be quite detrimental to your health. A single can of spaghetti sauce, for example, can easily add 12 g of sugar, the equivalent of 3 heaping teaspoons, to your meal. For those struggling with type 2 diabetes, or for those trying to prevent this condition, so common in older adults, this is a real shot in the foot. The industry, very clever, calls it refined sugar, high fructose corn syrup, maltodextrin, or other fancy names. But the body isn't fooled. All of this quickly turns into glucose, spiking your blood sugar levels and forcing your pancreas to work at an accelerated pace. Excessive sugar consumption, even if hidden, not only aggravates diabetes but also contributes to weight gain, chronic inflammation, and increases the risk of cardiovascular disease. The alternative is easier and tastier than you might think. Choose pure tomato pulp without added sugar or salt. Then, get creative. Add fresh oregano, minced garlic, basil, a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil, and black pepper. You'll have a delicious homemade sauce that tastes like real food, is cheaper, and most importantly, won't spike your blood sugar. Plus, making your own sauce allows you to control exactly what you're eating, avoiding unnecessary additives and ensuring a much healthier meal. Fruits and syrup, sweet accelerated aging. We've come to an item many consider a harmless dessert. Fruits and syrup. Peaches, figs, pineapples, so sweet, so soft, so easy to open. But this sweetness comes with a high price. A jar of peaches and syrup, for example, can contain up to 21 g of sugar per half cup. That's a lot, and not just any sugar. Excess fructose, the predominant sugar in many of these syrups, is linked to serious problems like chronic inflammation and, surprisingly, dementia. A 2024 study published in the renowned journal JAMA Neurology reinforced this worrying connection, showing how high consumption of simple sugars can negatively impact brain health. After age 60, our body's ability to metabolize fructose plummets. The liver, already burdened by demands, becomes overwhelmed, converting this excess into fat, which can lead to hepatic steatosis, fatty liver, and insulin resistance. It's a vicious cycle that accelerates cellular aging and compromises your vitality. The solution is as delicious as it is healthy. Swap those candied fruits for fresh ones. An apple banana, an orange with pulp, a handful of strawberries, or a fresh juicy peach. Fresh fruits are packed with fiber, which helps regulate the absorption of the fruit's natural sugar, preventing blood sugar spikes. They're also rich in vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, which protect your cells and fight inflammation. Don't deprive yourself of sweets, just choose the smart version. Complete meals in a can, the ultimate ultra-processed food. Last, but certainly not least, we have the ultimate ultra-processed food, complete meals in a can. Rice with sausage, feijoada, stroganoff, all there in a single can. The promise is tempting. A complete lunch in 3 minutes, an effortless dinner. It's convenience taken to the extreme. But what you gain in time, you lose in health. The real price of this convenience is sky high. A single serving can carry up to 900 milligrams of sodium, 5 g of saturated fat, and a host of color, flavor, and texture additives that your body simply wasn't designed to process. These meals are the perfect example of ultra-processed foods, which are formulated to be hyperpalatable and addictive, but nutritionally poor. They're loaded with industrial ingredients like refined vegetable oils, hidden sugars, isolated proteins, modified starches, emulsifiers, and artificial flavorings. What do you gain? Time, yes. But what do you lose? Mobility, mental clarity, energy, and ultimately, your independence. A British study of 2,000 elderly people revealed an alarming fact. Each serving of ultra-processed food consumed daily increases the risk of frailty by 14% in just 6 months. Frailty means loss of muscle strength, decreased gait speed, fatigue, and a greater vulnerability to falls and illness. It's a path to dependency. But cooking doesn't have to be a complex art. It doesn't require hours in the kitchen. Think of the slow cooker. 1 cup of brown rice, 1 chicken breast seasoned with lemon and parsley, 10 minutes of active preparation, and the rest is the pot doing the work. 30 minutes of the pot's rest, and you have a nutritious, tasty meal with less salt, more flavor, and above all, more life. Invest in simple meals with fresh, minimally processed ingredients. Your body will thank you. Phew. So far, we've uncovered the 7 canned villains that may be sabotaging your health, especially after 60. To recap, ready-made soups and broths, loaded with sodium, sausages and pâtés, bombs of saturated fat and nitrites, fish in oil, which nullifies omega-3s and adds trans fat, vegetables with white flavor, full of preservatives and hidden salt, tomato sauces with hidden sugar, fruits in syrup, accelerators of aging, and complete meals in cans, the pinnacle of ultra-processing. They all share the same dangerous DNA. Excess salt, hidden sugars, bad fats, and a host of convenience additives. If you're over 60 and your body no longer has the same filtering and processing capacity as before, any of these items could be the final straw, the little push your heart, kidneys, or brain need to start giving warning signs. It's a question of priorities. Convenience versus vitality. Now stop and think for a moment. Do you know anyone who still opens cans with their teeth? That loved one who, out of misinformation or pure practicality, is putting their health at risk with these foods? Don't hesitate. Send this video to her right now. It could be your mom, dad, uncle, grandma, or friend. It could be the gesture that saves a life, that raises awareness for healthier choices. Just click the green arrow and choose WhatsApp or Facebook. It's an act of kindness and responsibility. While you're at it, take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell. This way, you'll be notified whenever I publish new lists and valuable health tips. Don't miss out. The 2 cans that can still stay all is not lost in the world of canned goods. There are a few exceptions. Some cans that, with due care, can still have a place in your cupboard. The 2 cans that can still stay are no salt-added vegetables and tuna in water. But be careful. The key is to always read the label carefully. Look for terms like no added salt, low sodium, and crucially, a short, understandable ingredient list. If there's an ingredient you can't pronounce, that sounds like a secret code, or that you don't recognize as a food, leave it on the shelf. It's that simple. Less is more when it comes to health. The rinse trick. Okay, I know life happens. Sometimes you're in a situation where you have no choice but to use a canned food with a little more sodium. For those times of need, there's a simple trick that can help reduce the damage. The rinse trick. Open the can, pour the contents into a strainer, and rinse under running water for about 30 seconds. It's not a miracle cure, and it won't eliminate 100% of the additives or salt, but it can reduce the sodium content by about 25% to 35%. It's a stopgap that helps reduce the burden on your kidneys and heart. Use sparingly and as a last resort, never as a first option. Rule of the first three. This is a golden rule for any processed food, but especially for canned foods. The first three rule states, the first three ingredients listed on the label represent the majority of the product, usually about 70% of the total. By law, ingredients are listed in descending order of quantity. So if salt or sugar, or any of its many disguises, such as corn syrup, sucrose, or fructose, appear in the top three, run. This is a clear sign that you're buying a product high in these ingredients, which are the main villains of your health. Use this rule as your personal danger detector at the supermarket. So, there you have it. Now you have the inverted treasure map. Instead of searching for gold, you have the tools to avoid the traps that quickly age you, steal your energy, and compromise your quality of life. You are empowered with knowledge the industry would rather you didn't have. Save this video to your Health After 60 playlist. Watch it before you go to the grocery store, before you shop. Make this your personal guide to smarter choices. And now tell me, which can will you stop buying today? Which villain will you retire from your pantry? Write in the comments below. I read each one and love seeing your transformations and learnings. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You've prioritized not only your health, but also your families. This is an act of love and wisdom. Until the next video, take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones, and remember, real food doesn't come with a barcode. It comes from the land, the sea, and nature, and that's what your body deserves.